Hello and welcome to this BMS 4.33 training walkthrough, or mission walkthrough video. We're going to focus again on the inertially guided munitions, and this time we're going to focus on the JDAMs, the GBU31s. So it's mission 15, and let's go into the briefing screen. So on the briefing screen we can see our flight plan here. And the first thing we need to do is select the wingman, because he's the one with the weapons, and we'll look at the weapons very quickly here. There they are, two GBU31s, 2,000-pound bombs. So they pack a punch, but they also laden down the jet quite a bit. We can see we're 40,000 pounds with compared to a maximum weight of 48. So they take a bit of afterburner to take off with. In this mission, we set off in the air, and we're close to steer point 3, and we're set up in the air-to-ground mode with the SMS page up. Challenge with that is we've got a lot of work to do in setting up the coordinates and entering the profiles, so it all happens very quickly. The reason why I started on the briefing screen here is because I want to look at the attack geometry for the two targets that we need to set up for, and I want to explain how these JDAMs with the new modeling in 4.33 makes attacking these very flexible. So I'm going to zoom into the area that our targets are. I've got two bridges, the northern bridge and the southern bridge. They're actually named differently, however in the mission briefing it talks about the north and the south Dalsan bridge. I'm going to move the PPT out of the way just for a second here, and we're going to look at the bridge here. So it's the U-Ho Re-Bridge and the Dalstan bridge. So let's start off with the first one that we ingress to, and let's recon that. And now we can see the bridge. I'm going to select the span because that's what we're going to be targeting exactly for our attack run. And once we target that, you can see the details come up on the top left hand side of the screen, and these are exactly identical to what's in the mission briefing, as you will find. We're also going to throw in the elevation because I'm just used to doing it in DCS and for completeness. However, it's not modeled perfectly in this sim. So I'm going to just find what our target aspect is by rotating around to 275, and I know it's 275 there, and we can see we've got a good alignment. So what we want to do is we want to get our bombs to fall in along this line. That gives us the best chance of success. So the first one is going to be 275, and now let's have a look at the second one. And again we focus in on the bridge span, satellite view, and rotate around, and this one is approximately 265 will do. So we can see that's the line that we want to attack, a bit like as if we were attacking a runway. We want to attack on that line. So let's go back out and have a look at what happens here. Okay, so we're going to be coming in approximately from steer point 5, and we're going to be heading towards our two bridges there. So we're going to be on a heading of somewhere between 300 and 310. And this is important because while we can apply what's called an offset angle to our bombs, which make them turn onto a direction and attack the target from that direction, there's a limitation to what they can do, and the documentation indicates that this limitation is around 60 degrees. So we can see we're going to be turning the bombs onto a heading of 265 and 275 from 310 at most. So we're well within the capability of the bombs to be able to do that. If we were to attack from, trying to get the bombs to attack from the other side, you can see it would be impossible because the offset angle would be too great. So also required in the mission is that we adjust, let's move that out of the way, that we adjust steer point 5 and 6 to be the target steer points, and I'm not in favor of this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make up new steer points, and I usually use anything from 15 onwards for my target steer points. So we're going to use destination steer points 15 and 16 for the lower bridge and the southern bridge and the northern bridge. So with that in mind, we should be ready now to jump into the pit, and things happen quite quickly in the pit. So let's go there now. Okay, we're in the pit now. First thing I'm going to do is switch the power on to our GBU31s. Switch our autopilot on, and now we're going to focus on the profile. Just our throttle. And you can see we're on profile 1, and using the control page OSP 5 we can enter in the parameters for profile 1. So the arming delay is going to be 9 seconds as per mission briefing. The offset azimuth is going to be 275 as we spoke about. I go back to the main page and just check that. So that's not 9 seconds, so we're going to have to change that again. So we're going to type in 9. Back to the main page. 9 seconds, 275, that's good. So we're going to change our profile to 3 because profile 2 won't allow us to do the azimuth offset. Control again. Arming delay is going to be 7. Offset this time is 265. Back to the main page. Check 7 seconds and 265. The other ones don't make they have no impact because they're not implemented yet. So let's go back to profile 1 because that's our default, and HSD shows us where we are. We need to be pushing on to steer point 5 in a moment. In the meantime, I'm going to start thumbing in our coordinates as destination steer points. So return list 1, and we're going to start at 15 and enter, and choose the northern coordinate here. And it's 38, 21, 463, enter. Then the eastern coordinate, let's push our steer point now while we're in the middle. So the eastern coordinate is 129, 34, 837, 837. And finally our altitude 1537, enter. Okay, so let's do a quick cross check of that. 38, 21, 463, 129, 34, 837. That's okay. 1537. So now let's double up to change the steer point to steer point 16. Enter 16. Enter. So now we're going to enter the coordinates for 16 in the same way. 38, 23, 38, 23, 466. Enter, and the eastern coordinate is 129, 34, 297. Altitude is 1895. Enter, and a final cross check. 38, 23, 466, 129, 34, 297, 296. That's okay. Enter, return here, and now we're going to push on to that steer point 15, steer point 15, and our jet is going to orientate ourselves towards that. Now we can zoom in and have a quick look. Going to push on to 16 to just make sure it's in the right location. You can see there they're very close by. So let's go back to our HUD, and we can see some symbology there. And we can see our wingman, our lead down below, he's doing something else. So we can see our symbology there on the HUD, and you can see a carrot just coming into view now. We're still a little bit out. We're about 15 miles out of the target area. 30, 20, we're actually 20 miles out. Yeah, so we're still a bit to go, and I'm pushing up on our speed because what we need to be doing is we need to be giving ourselves good speed to lob the bombs in so that we can pull away as early as possible. We don't want to get too far into that SA3 threat circle. So just some final checks. SMS page, we're on profile 1. Profile 1 is 9 seconds and offset angle 275. Profile 3 is 7 seconds and 265. Back to 1. So as soon as this carrot drops down into the rectangle, a bit like the IAM 120, Once the carrot gets into the lower rectangle here, we've got good parameters for weapon release. Before that happens, I'm going to switch out of autopilot, and we're going to manually fly this, because we get a lot of maneuvering when the inertia, when one of those bombs falls. So currently Mach 0.95, which is a good speed, and now we're getting close. I'm going to switch on our recorder. Give it a second, give it a second. Okay, bombs away. Okay, hold the jet steady and push to steer point 16. Change our profile to 3, and now we're good for the second weapon. I'm going to let our alignment come a little bit around to the bomb fall line to give it a best target angle. We're good there. And I'm going to give it a couple of seconds between the bombs so that we can see it on our recording. And now release. Now we're out of dodge. Steer point 7. Enter, and autopilot engaged. And now we can have a look at what our bombs are doing. So hopefully this is the first one, and get an idea of what angle it's coming in. So it looks like a reasonably good alignment there on the bridge, and that's going to hit okay. So let's go back to the second one. Okay, the second one, and let's see what angle that's coming in at for its bridge. A little bit offset to the left hand side, but still a reasonably good approach.
Sparky,
good hit.
Nailed it. Sparky, 3-1, nailed it. Sparky, 3-1, direct hit.
Okay, we're regressing the target area. I don't think we encroached too far into the SA3 threat there, although where I'm looking at it here, where we did get in at some stage. So we're going to have a quick look now at the ACMI from that, and we can see the way the bombs, I like to call them bendy bombs, because they actually turn onto their target, and it's very clear from the ACMI. Okay, we're looking at the bomb fall profiles now from the mission, and we're starting off with the first bomb, and we can see a release there. The first thing to notice there, it does a slight offset to the right hand side because it wants to give itself an angle. Now it's turning in. So it's turned in, and now it's approaching the target. And if we look at the, let's pause it there for a second. If we look at the telemetry data up there, you'll see it's 285. So it's 10 degrees off from what we set it at. We set it at 275. So now we've set up the second bomb in the same way. Here's the first one away. A couple of seconds later, second one away. So you can see the first one has already turned there, and now the second one is on its way. And now the second one has made a turn. And that's going to go for the target area. And if we look at the aspect or the angle off there for the second one, it's approximately 278. Remember, we were looking for for the second one we were looking for 265. So 278. So both of them seem to be about 10 degrees off from what we expected them to be. I'd have to do a little more analysis on that. But it's still pretty good, even if you know that the offset's going to be off by 10% or 10 degrees. It's still pretty good. So I hope you found this mission and this video useful. And as usual, please feel free to leave comments, and we'll see you next time.